So let's go a step deeper now. What are y'all doing to teach your children anti-racism? And what are your fears, or what are your special challenges in practicing anti-racism? You know what I'm saying?
Very tense.
Yeah. Y'all keep the dog quiet. Okay.
I was about to say there's a delicate dance to me, balance, I guess is a better word. I'm the mother of 4 sons and 1 daughter. Raising them in the reality of the racism of this world, with my husband, of course, and I'm married to a black man. The black men of my family are 6 foot something, big, muscular, big, bound, tall men. So just the walk in the room, automatically, it could be projected as a threat. My husband and I raised my sons to protect them in the reality of racism, that it is a double standard that would threaten their very life, just because of the color of their skin, and that they are male. When your young son is treated a certain way because he's black in front of his friends, and it becomes, he of course is angry. You have to deal with that. You have to teach them what to do, what not to do, in order to keep them safe. And yet in the same, to teach them as a child of God and as people of worth, to love everyone as people of worth, regardless of what they are doing. I'm a child of the civil rights movement and a civil rights leader for a father. And I can remember going to school doing freedom of choice in Mississippi prior to integration. And my father dealt with keeping us safe, the first 5 kids, as dealing with prejudice that we were going to face, the racism we were going to face, the violence, the ignorance, the language, the people, literally grown people spitting at a child. He dealt with that as teaching us that there was a form of back in those days we said mental retardation, or the days we said mentally challenged. We had a young lady in our community that was mentally challenged, and we understood we had to respect Rosie in a certain way because she was not could not be accountable for her actions. And so in turn, our father taught us that when these adults were acting like that as racist, that they were performing and on a level of being mentally challenged. And so that was his way of trying to keep us from having hatred. So it's a delicate balance there to teach your children that people are worked all the same, but yet to teach them that you won't be seen the same.
Yeah. And to teach them too that Jesus calls us to love even the racist.
Yes.
And even, people that we know who see things differently than we do. I've told them a lot. Just because somebody is mean to you, not mean that you have to be mean back. Like, you can choose to walk away. You can choose, and I'm talking to little white girls here. The challenge is, how do you teach her? She has her little boyfriend is a sweet little African-American boy, and she's just smitten with him. And so how do we bless that, but at the same time teach her to not hate the people that we know who say bad things or mean things about that relationship? Just trying to raise them in a way that where they realize that God calls us to love even the ones that are the hardest to love.
I have an 11-year-old daughter who is very outspoken. There's a balance between teaching her who she is and being proud of that, and understanding that she's no better than anyone else, but no one else is better than she is. Not only teaching her her Black heritage, but also, her father is part Filipino. And so she has a lot to learn. She has a whole, lot to learn. And she is so open, and she's such a sponge, and she asks questions about it. She is one of 3 Black children in an all-white school. she had some challenges with a little girl for an entire year. And our first thought was, is it because she's Black or whatever? With the first year we went, there for homecoming week, one of their days, I think I told you guys this, but one of their days was Redneck Day. And I had so much anxiety about that day. I can't send her to school on that day, and because I don't know what that means. I don't know what I don't know. So I can't send my Black girl child to school on Redneck Day. So I don't know what might happen. So her dad said, well, don't say anything, just keep her home. But I could not say anything either. So I, just called her teacher up and said, we won't be attending Redneck Day. It means something different for us than it may mean for you, And she understood, and she was so apologetic. We went through some conversations. In the next year, there was no Redneck Day. Because, and I explained to them, I said, I understand that you have had no reason to be culturally sensitive or even aware up until now, but we're here now, and so the next year there's no Redneck Day, there's no, and so all of the days I think changed the next year, but I think they were very careful the next year, but there's that challenge.
Volunteering our time at the Wesley Foundation, now that I am campus minister at, volunteering our time and being able to have those students literally love us so much and love the kids and then come into our home and stay. And they were always around them. So to them, they knew no other way. Like, it was hard for them growing up because so many of their friends did not have that point of view, did not have that experience. So to them, they were almost not an outcast, but sometimes they would be, just because they were standing up for others and they were constantly telling them, like, this weekend I had lasagna over at my home and we had this and we did that. And then it was the next time you had Zachary Moore, and he stays at our home, he's living there for a little while or something. It was like this moment where that was their brothers and sisters. We had a lot of tough talks at night. Not everybody was going to agree that you should be even welcoming people into your home and letting them stay with you, or how can you trust them? That was my favorite, when they would say, you let them stay at your house with your kids while you were gone. I'm like, yeah? My God, what is wrong with you people? I couldn't understand that, but they were just like, you were going to be robbed and your kids were going to be sold or something. But if we're going to be honest, why won't you open your doors? You say that you love everyone, supposedly, but yet you are not opening your doors. You're not having them spend the night. You're not having them sit at your table with you. You're not having them intermingle with everyone in your family. That's where we had to sit down with our kids and tell them, this is not right. It is not right to profess you love people, to profess you are there for people, but then you don't even open your door for them. You don't even have I have a daggone blanket with all the pictures of my students that they made for me. And it's not one of white people. It is of colored, and it is the most beautiful thing that I own. And it is the most cherished thing I own. And that's what I wanted my kids to know. That's the things that mean something. That's the relationships you want in your life, is genuine, deep love for people. And so that was very important. And I love the fact that my daughter is now in a biracial marriage, and I can't wait to be a grandmother of the most beautiful kids that I will ever witness. Our family has expanded so beautifully, and then at that wedding, guys, the most glorious God-given hues of people in that wedding. From her friends to our family that we are now with. That is what the kingdom of God is supposed to look like. That is what the kingdom of God is supposed to be like. And that is what we are called to be like. Not of this other stuff. We are not to draw lines. We are not to say who gets in or who is worthy or who is beautiful. We are all created in the image of God. And if we are not living that out, if we are not teaching our children that, and if we are not teaching them their value, like, God, y'all speaking that, having to teach your children their value, that should be a given. That should be a given. I'm so honored to be in this presence today. I am so humbly honored.
virtual hugs.
Preach, girl.
Preach that, preacher. You just
Amen.
Said that.
yes,
I was
she did.
going to say, the layperson just preached us under the table.
Yes, she did.
Preach
Yes,
that,
she
preacher.
did.
Yes,
Oh,
she
girl.
I love y'all so much.
We love you.